was a game that was circled on the calendar since the schedule came out. Jackson State versus Grambling State. Deion Sanders versus Hugh Jackson. The G-men coming in with a lot of momentum after their dominant win over Northwestern State in the Shreveport Classic. But would it be enough to take down the defending SWAC champs? Well, there's only one way to find out. Former NFL coach versus two-time Super Bowl champion. Grambling down at 7-0. Brian Powell had a huge day. He makes the sack on Shador Sanders, but Jackson State moves down the field. Sivion Wilkerson runs it in for 6. That makes it 14-0 Tigers. But here comes Grambling. Quaterius Hawkins hands it off to Maurice Washington. Nebraska transfer takes care of the rest. 73-yard score cuts the lead in half. That will make it a 14-7 game. Next drive, Sanders looking, but Sundiata Anderson with the sack and the ball pops loose. Brian Powell scoops and scores to tie things up at 14. 21-14 now. Garrett Urban nails this one to make it 21-17 at the break. But in the second, it's all Jackson State. Sanders finds Dallas Daniels for the score as Jackson State pulls away, scores 6 touchdowns in the second half as the defending SWAC champs pick up the 66-24 win to improve to 3-0 as Grambling falls to 1-2. Coming into today's game against Grambling, Jackson State hadn't done two things. That is, give up a touchdown and lose a game. The G-men were able to check off one of those boxes, scoring 3 touchdowns on the SWAC's #1 defense. But in the end, they couldn't check off that last one as Jackson State picks up the 66-24 win.
That was not who I thought we'd be today. The game was 21-17 at half, and I don't know where we went, after that. That's my job to find out, to fix it, to get it right, and I plan on doing that. We played extremely hard. I just didn't have that feeling like I should in the second half. The second half is where you got to close games out, and we didn't do that. For them to take the ball right down and go score, let's start off the second half, and for us to just sputter as we did on offense is concerning. So we got to fix it.
Grambling's 6-game road trip to open up the season continues next Saturday as the Tigers take on Bethune-Cookman. Reporting here in Jackson State, I'm Sam Rothman. You heard Coach Jackson talk about Grambling's second half struggles. Well, that's been the case so far this season. Let's go back to week 1 against Arkansas State. Grambling gave up 28 points in the second half. Even 2 weeks ago against Northwestern State, a game that the G-men dominated, they still gave up 2 touchdowns in the second half after they were up 41-7. And the worst second half performance came last Saturday. Jackson State scoring 45 points in the final 30 minutes of play. So through 3 games, Grambling has allowed 87 second half points. That's about 30 a game. On the other side, the Tigers have only scored 16 points in the second half total this season. That's about 5 per game. And it's a problem Coach Jackson is fully aware of.
I think we can play with a lot of people, but can we finish? That's the question. I mean, the first half looked like a really good football game. The second half was totally different. I have to find out why that is. In 3 games, the second halves, we've been different. And so that's my charge as the head coach to find the answer for that, and I will. But I think our team will compete. They'll go out and give it everything they have. What we have to do as a group is learn how to finish and finish strong. They have to understand the second half is more important than the first half. And so once we get that understood, I think we'll be fine.